Oh my goodness. Here we are. Back again. I don't know even what to do about it at all. It's just crazy time. Here we are. Back again. I don't know. I hear myself talking. Do about see? Been a while. It's just crazy time. Here we are. I hear myself talking. Oh goodness. Let me go up here and mute this thing so I can stop hearing myself. Oh, hey, Preston is here. Larry, John, good to see you. Good to see you. Oh my goodness. 4 months and 50 videos to 300 subs. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I think that's probably better than I did, honestly. But yeah, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. I've heard it said that your first 100 videos are just practice. So I hear you, man. I hear you. It's crazy. Yeah, I need to get back on the video tip myself, as it were, because I have just been really, well, it's been a crazy time. It's been a crazy time. I guess that's all I can, that's the best thing I know how to say, is that it's been crazy. I'm trying to get, okay, I think I'm getting my, I'm trying to get my audio set up correctly. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's doing great, awesome, or however it is that you want to be. My name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL, formerly known as the Painfully Honest Tech, but I still, I still honor the Painfully Honest Tech. Ooh, Rainier back onto level 1 wizard. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Turn myself up. Turn myself up. Okay, I can do it. I can do it. Hold on. Up. How's that? Better? Yes, I hope so. I still get it. I gotta fix this start. I got fans on, people. That's the thing that's going on here, because it's freaking 90 degrees in it's 90 degrees in Iowa today, and it feels like more than that. It does. So hopefully everything is sounding good. Oh, Sean, good to see you. Jeremy, yeah. Okay, so the gain is good. Because it's, I got this new Rodecaster Pro 2, and it reads good. It says that I have enough gain, but but yeah, okay, so I'm hitting in the right place. Anyway, what am I even talking about? It's been so long, people. It has been so long. 95 in New Jersey, man. I had 103. Yeah, that's a dry heat, though, as they say. I think that's what they say. Podcastage is in the house. It's always good to see my good friend. Upgraded membership to Wizard Squad. Tech Med Rainier Richter is on. Let me see. I got some of this stuff back. Oh yeah. Yeah. I got my sound effects back. The good folks over at Rode sent me the Rodecaster Pro 2. I made like sort of a very long video. I think it was like a 30-minute long video. 104 in the UK. The British people must be melting. It's never that hot in the UK. It's always like pleasant, from what I recall. And it gets light at like 4 in the morning. But yeah. Oh, so Asiatic Soldier is here. Yes, it has been a minute. 80 in Florida, but yeah, 100 earlier today. Yeah, I tell you what, I've been working on the studio. I got a nice new background going on, the whole deal. Been working on the studio. That's one of the things that I've been trying to do in this time where I've just been sort of doing whatever. And one thing I want to do is install a mini split AC thing. And yeah. Yeah, have like one of those mini split AC things in the in the wall. And I can't get anybody to do anything. I wanted somebody to do some drywall. I wanted to do some I guess, you know, it tis the season. Harshid, good to see you. Good to see you. 102 today at the Tour de France. Yeah. I hope they weren't like doing one of those mountain climbing stages of the Tour de France today. Because that would be, yeah. I didn't think of that. Can you guys hear my ice? It's just, as usual, I like to drink the Mio. And got some ice in there. It's Walmart brand Mio. Uh, Jeremy bought the Sonos soundbar. It's really good, isn't it? I'm telling you, man. I really, really liked the Arc. The whole setup with the sub and the, even if you just have the sub and the Arc, the sub adds just that little bit of something that the Arc itself is not necessarily missing, but it doesn't really do as well. So yeah, but the sub is like crazy. It's like $700 or $800. It's a crazy amount of money. So yeah, but it's a really impressive system. I've been using recently the one of the LG brand, one of the LG soundbars, because it had its own, I don't know, it worked with the LG system. Now I've got a Samsung TV. I have a 75-inch Samsung TV. So this is like the next episode of Adventures in Open Boxing. Or I think I'm gonna shorten that, make it simpler, and just call it Open Boxed Adventure. and one thing I'm gonna do in that series is I got a 75-inch 8K Samsung television from Best Buy, obviously. And one thing I'm gonna do with it is do a video on it, because they had it when the new Samsung models came out, and they had it sitting in the open box section. And I looked on the back, and I could see where the clamps had been for the wall mount. And I went to the person who was running the store, and I was just like, this was the display model, right? And she's like, yeah, I think so. So I was like, but it was $1,800, $1,700, something like that, which is crazy stupid because it was $3,500 new. And that's when they got me on the Best Buy Total Tech. The Total Tech got me. Although even I think with just that one purchase, like Total Tech paid for itself. Because yeah, Total Tech, it's $200. If you're not familiar with Total Tech at Best Buy, they kind of introduced it. It's a $200 premier platform that you pay $200 a year, and you get 2 years of warranty, like replacement warranty from Best Buy, even if the manufacturer doesn't provide that. If you buy Apple products, you get Apple Care without having to sign up for it. So there are a few other things. They got rid of Elite Plus and Elite and all that stuff, which bummed me out because I was Elite Plus every year. But they got rid of that stuff. They introduced this Total Tech. But one thing that they'll do is if you buy something and it's covered through Total Tech, which this TV was, then they will replace it no matter what. So I bought the display model, which I don't know how many thousands of hours it has on it because it's just sitting on the wall in Best Buy running. But I thought to myself, you know what? I could buy this, and then if it craps out in a year or 6 months because it's been running for so long, I'll just get the new model for the price that I paid for this one. So Paul says the sound is cutting in and out for him. Anybody else having sound problems? I know you can hear my gate coming on and off because the fans are kind of noisy. Let me turn down one of my fans so it's not making as much noise. Okay. Oh, wait. Wrong headphones. Too many headphones. Too many headphones in the headphone on the desk here. Too many. All right, so where do I want you to? Yep. I'm still trying to get the noise gate like dialed in for this thing. Don't like it. Anyway, this is supposed to be like plug and play. Everything's so easy, but I haven't liked the gate on the Rodecaster Pro 2 is a little touchy. Turn my headphones up. Yeah, I've got to. You notice I got like the blue headphone thing. They send me this little package of like things that you stick on the headphones so that you know whose headphones are whose. I just put one on for no reason. What does it sound like if I turn off the processing? It sounds like that. Okay. I'm getting this figured out, people. Don't I know this is I'm being a little let's see, let's dial the hold up a little bit. Let's make the attack a little less attacky. No. Make the release a little slower releasey. And not that slow. Okay. Well, it'll have to do. It's good enough for rock and roll. Less bassy. Nobody wants less bassy. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see what I can do for you. See, this is good. Like I haven't, been able to. Ooh, I've got the exciter on. I've got the aural exciter going. How's that? Is that better? I don't know. I don't know if it's better or not. This thing is so far away from me. So far away. Yeah, I do have. Yeah, that is kind of boosted there. So let's just turn that down. Let's just turn that down. Okay, here we go. I think I'm getting it. Da 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 da. Yeah, less bassy when I turned off the processing, but then it's like all the noise and everything else that's going on in here. Summer in the garage is terrible for live streaming, but I'll just have to deal with it. No painfully honest tech, not dead, just chilling out. Well, not really chilling out. I mean, so I don't know if you guys know, but I've been live streaming on Amazon now since like mid-year last year, something like that. I actually have my Amazon live page right here. I can put into the chat. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. But anyway, I've been doing the Amazon live thing. And then also my grandson, if you haven't been around, my grandson has been living with us since he was born. Actually, his mom was living with us before he was born. And then we became his, I don't know, what did I just link?
Learning you have.
I don't even know what I linked. Don't look at that. Whatever it is, don't look at it. But anyway, yeah, so he started living with us and we became his full-time guardians. And so yeah, he's a year old now, and yeah, so it's been busy. So it's been really busy. I've kind of been taking a break, but to be kind of totally painfully honest here, part of the whole thing with the title of tonight's live stream is that idea that like, is tech kind of dead, right? I mean, I know that for me, there has not been a whole lot of stuff that I've wanted to talk about in the time that I have been doing this thing. So it's been really weird to not, I don't know. There hasn't been really any phones released. There hasn't been much to talk about. Whereas the majority of my content before was sort of focused around smartphones, right? And it had been that way for several years, and that pretty much took all of my time. And there was yeah, I have a grandson. My son is 22 years old, and he and his girlfriend at the time had a had a baby a year ago in June, so he's in no way, shape, or form capable. She's got so anyway, we're his legal guardians now, and so it's my daughter graduated high school. All kinds of crazy stuff has been going on. So I just ended up like, I just I just ended up not having the same kind of time. I thought, my daughter's going to graduate high school. When I was thinking about leaving to go full time doing this stuff, I was like, my daughter's going to graduate high school, and then I'll have all of this extra time. I won't have any worries or anything to do. She's moved out, and she's got her own apartment now. And then life comes along, and there's an old saying, you make in life you make plans and God laughs, is one that I've heard. And then there's also the life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. A line from line from Watching the Wheels by John Lennon, off the great Double Fantasy album. So yeah, it's just been one of those things where it has been quite busy. So I just didn't really, and I see what you guys are saying. Like, tech isn't dead. There's definitely always new tech coming. But I think what we've seen in terms of tech and YouTube and it's like social media coverage is that there was sort of a boom time. There was a real like collective force behind everything. A lot of my content a couple of years ago was a lot of my content is was sort of opinion based, right? And I just feel like a lot of people are like, whenever tech isn't like the big news story, there's not as much need for that, and then there's not as much tech coming out. So if there's and as Ex Plumber says, like, MKBHD and other folks have been making videos about phones and stuff that are not even gonna be coming out in the US. I was kind of excited to at least make fun of the Nothing phone, the Nothing one. I was looking forward to that, but then I thought, like, I can't even do that because it's not even going to come out in the US. So, and when I see the coverage that other people are doing, they're all sort of like, oh, this is so cool. It does, like, it lights up in the back or something like that. I mean, is that how far we've fallen? Is that where we go now? Is just look at the cool backlighting of the phone? And it's not even that much of a phone, really, right? I mean, it's got like a mid-tier, well, mid-tier phone these days is plenty powerful for just about anything you'd want to do, but there's nothing in the Nothing phone that really I feel like is really worth talking about, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to pop out the chat here so I can just look at it. I have my teleprompter here, but I need a longer HDMI cable. So these are the days of our lives. So yeah, it's just been really, really bizarre to think about, like, what the whole, like, collective unconscious, like, everybody was talking about tech for a long time, and it just seems like it has slowed down to the point where I was looking through, like, my news aggregators before I was doing the podcast tonight, and honestly, like, the only thing that was newsworthy was Apple related. And I'm not saying that that's always the case, but as I was going through these aggregators, it was definitely the case today, that I saw so many Apple stories, and there's got to be other stuff going. There is some cool stuff going on. I shouldn't say only, but let me. I saw this game today. Let me go to the web here. So this new game called Stray, where you play the game as a cat. You play the game as a cat, and you wander around supposedly doing cat things. You can knock stuff over, and yeah, you're a cat. Which I saw this, and I thought this is fantastic for my daughter. She loves cats, and so I thought great for. I forwarded this to her, and that's like one of the only non-Apple centric things that I saw today on anything. Um, so there was that, and then how to add your ID to Apple Wallet. There are only 2 states that allow you to add your Apple ID to your Apple Wallet: Arizona and Maryland. And the thing about, so why write a story about this? This is Laptop Magazine. So if Laptop Magazine is writing about how you add your Apple ID or your ID to your Apple Wallet, then yeah, there's a dearth of material out there because only like several million people can do it. I don't know what the population of Maryland and Arizona is put together, but it's not many. It's not many compared to the other 48 states. Here's a question for you. Answer me in the comments. Will you put your driver's license in your iPhone or in your Android phone if that feature ever comes to the Android? Because I'm curious. I'm kind of excited about it, but that's only because I've lost my wallet 3 times in the past like year, I think. Stephen D, good to see you. Good to see you. Apple tanked at the stock market yesterday, and that's why they were in the news. And yeah, they said they were cutting hiring. I saw Sundar Pichai in a picture of Sundar Pichai in an article that was headlined the same thing. You know, big tech is cutting hiring. Podcastage, why am I not surprised that you wouldn't put your ID in your phone? Podcastage doesn't trust the world at all, which I mean is probably a good strategy, but you know, in the meantime, I probably would, but yeah, I lose my wallet all the time, and it's more frustrating than you would think. You need your driver's license more often than you would think you need it, and and so I end up not having it, and it's just really kind of a pain. I just wish that I didn't have to wait so long to get, and now you can't just go into the driver's license office and say, hey, could I sign up to get another driver's license, right? You have to make an appointment online, and the appointment is always like 2 weeks away at least. So it's, yeah, it's not good. And you know, I thought about AirTags as well, but I guess AirTags are kind of controversial also. So I don't know. I don't know. One thing that I'm curious, like, so, all right, I have a confession to make. I went back and got the Z Fold 3 again. I was talking about doing it on Twitter. I just, you know, I'd been using my iPhone and it was fine. There's nothing, it's right here. Nothing wrong with the iPhone 12 Pro Max, 12 Pro Max. Nothing wrong with it at all. I wanted to use the Z Fold 3 and I don't have any Macs that I'm using right now either. I'm all PC, baby. It's all PC. So yeah, I'm still on that tip, but I just got to the point where I have this thing, right? And this thing is fine. It's fine. But once I started to try and run, I was running cameras through it and doing a live stream thing, and it just was, I mean, it's fine. But I wanted to do like a more surefire camera thing. I wanted to get the Elgato Camlink Pro. That is a PCIe card that you plug, and you can't put PCIe cards in Macs. And so I built a PC. Um, yeah, well, and X Plumber says that the Z Fold 3 is good for the eyeballs. Yeah, and it is for sure. I mean, my my wife, bless her heart, has start she now and it's been this way for a couple of years. She has the text on her iPhone set to like super big, which looks really weird, but she does. So I mean, I haven't gone quite that to that extent, but I do whenever I'm reading on a Kindle or something. Like, let me see what my text looks like. Oh, it's not too bad on here, but it can be bigger. So, but I usually on my regular Kindle, I put my text up pretty large, which saves you from buying like large print books. I don't even know if they make large print books anymore. Um, yeah. Well, and Lee has a good point here. The problem with Max is the sentence always starts with, "You can do this, or you can't plug those in, or et cetera, et cetera." And here's the problem that I continue to encounter with Apple, and it's not a new problem. It's not a problem that's been a problem for Apple forever, but it's not new, and that's what I call the Apple Goldilocks effect. And it really works on kind of it really works on the base model level of Macs. Like, so this is a $2,000 base model computer, right? And on one hand, it has 32 gigs of RAM, and it has the M1 Max chip, and that's great. But it only has 512 gigs of storage, and so then if you want to get more storage, you have to special order, and you have to pay through the nose to get it. And then the same thing exists on the MacBooks that came out last year. It's like, okay, so they all only have 13 gigabytes of RAM. So if you want more than, or 16, if you want more than 16 gigabytes of RAM, that's a special order. And once you get, like, for someone like myself who needs to do video editing, who needs to do all the stuff that I do, every time I price the Mac that has all of the things that I need built into it, that would be something that I would, if I were piecemeal building a PC, I would have that. So one thing that happens is I end up with this whole computer, whether it's a laptop or a Mac Studio or an iMac in previous years or whatever, it never costs less than $3,400. And that's just more than I want to that's just more than I want to spend, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why. I've spent that much money on other things, so I don't know why but it's also the whole, like, it's a special order. You can't buy it off the shelf, and I just like to buy things off the shelf. So I built this PC, and it's got like 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM. It's got a terabyte of a PCIe 4 SSDs. It's got enough. It's got five M.2 SSD slots in it that run at PCIe 4. It's got a 3060 Ti. It's got that Camlink Pro. I can run monitors as much. I can run at least 5 monitors from my graphics card if I want to do that. It's really good. It just I could put in what I wanted to, and while it wasn't cheap, it wasn't $3,500, and it's running great, and it's doing great, and I'm having no problems with it whatsoever. And as Tech for Your Needs says, it is the never-ending battle of the PC versus Mac debate, and for years, and it's become more sort of acute since I started really doing the YouTube channel and needing more performance out of my computers instead of just like getting what I could afford and dealing with it. Now that I actually need the computers to perform in a certain way, it's gotten harder because I'm never going to find the Mac that's perfect. unless I spend a lot of money. But I can make the PC that is perfect. The only problem is it's still a PC, which is not a problem except for the fact that it doesn't run some of the things that I've always used with the Mac. Some of the Mac specific things like Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro and things like that. And the operating, I'm more comfortable in terms of just workflow and that kind of thing with the Apple Mac OS system as opposed to Windows 11 now, I guess. So I just have come to terms with the fact that if I want everything that I want to get and I want to be able to upgrade and I want to be able to, sort of fiddle with my computer and I want to be able to do more than just use it, I'm going to have to be okay with a PC. That's pretty much like the long and short of it. I'm going to have to be okay with a PC if I want to be able to do any of those things. And while there's nothing wrong with that, it just kind of, it's the golden handcuffs of Apple. Apple sort of locks you into what they do. And people complain about this all the time when I make videos about Apple stuff. People lock you into stuff, and then you've got your AirPods Max and your AirPods Pro, and you've got your Apple TV, and you've got your iPhone, and you've got your Apple Watch. Like your Apple Watch, and like all of those things, and they all work great together. But more and more, it's becoming predicated on this idea that you're just supposed to use it. You're not supposed to want to get under the hood, and that's become more and more frustrating with me. Podcasted says I priced out the Mac Pro I needed, and it was $11,000. Yeah, close. Yeah. That's the problem. Like a Mac Pro would be perfect for just about, well, I mean, honestly, like you could get a Mac Studio that's perfect, or a Mac Pro, or if you want, or you could, that was the great thing about the iMac. Like the 27-inch iMac had just enough customizability in the fact that you could upgrade the RAM, right? And so once you could do that, it was kind of this thing of, okay, I can upgrade the RAM and then I can get more performance out of the machine. So I pay for the parts that are in there. I upgrade the RAM myself and save a couple of $100. But now that's not even possible with anything. And then with the M1 or the new MacBook Air M2s and the MacBook Pro M2s, the big controversy, I guess, has been this whole thing with the lower end spec having a slower SSD. And that's something that a lot of people don't know about the SSDs, is that Mac's faster SSDs, or bigger SSDs, are faster. So 512 versus 1 terabyte, 512 is slower than the 1 terabyte. So, and once you learn that, then it's kind of like, well, geez, I don't want to buy the base spec. The thing is, the base model of the Air or the Pro in the 13-inch spec are going to be fine for the majority of anybody who would ever buy them. But at the same time, like, one of the things that people used to do with Macs is they would buy the Mac they could afford, which usually wasn't the same thing that they could afford in a PC or something like that, but they would want to do creative stuff on it. And the Macs back in the day would be able to do those things by and large, but now Apple's got things going on under the hood that aren't really apparent to people when they're looking at the specs and buying the machines. So it's definitely an issue. And I don't know what the solution is. I mean, from a YouTube standpoint, like, and that's another thing that I've been struggling with, is that from a YouTube standpoint, you can be an Apple channel and just like pound away at Apple and make only Apple content, and even more focused, like Apple, like focused on a certain kind of Apple product, and do well on YouTube. But I just didn't want to do that. I mean, I've always liked Apple and everything like that, but I don't want to make a career out of talking about Apple. So um, that's kind of why I've been a little bit off the radar for the past several months. Is that I'm just kind of like letting the ideas of what I'm going to do come to me, and I think ultimately what I've decided to do is I'm just not. I don't care. I don't care what the algorithm says. I don't care. I mean, I want people to watch the videos and everything like that, but I'm just gonna make the videos about the stuff that I like, and it's gonna fall within a certain range of things. But those things might not be enough for the algorithm to like say it makes sense or whatever. I'm just over. I am over the algorithm, and killing myself about that. So here I go. Uh, you know, um, digital slang, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. I've got these right here. Look at that. Jonah Rash, how you doing? Anyway, um, so X Plumber had a question here. Non-Apple devices. But the only non-Apple device you use is the Note 20 Ultra. My iPad Pro and MacBook Pro have USB-C. Will they finally make the move to iPhone? Um, you know, I think as the EU, as you said, the EU is gonna. I guess they've made that decision. That's I think gonna force Apple's hand. It's 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 really it's I think it's really a conundrum for Apple because talked about this on live streams before. Apple makes so much money licensing licensing that MFI Lightning, uh, the spec of it. So if you want to make an accessory that has a Lightning jack or a Lightning port, you have to pay Apple a licensing fee in order to be able to say you're MFI certified. And so whatever you're paying those so those are the accessories that you'll see that are more expensive. And so Apple makes so much money off of that I don't know. They'll go to USB-C if they have to, but I think I think that, as Larry says, the 14 is going to come out maybe just before the USB-C thing is mandated, and maybe it'll be on the 15, but maybe it won't, because I have a feeling that Apple. I mean, if Apple acts like Apple acts sometimes, Apple is going to perhaps um, go portless. I know that Taylor Swift Tech has been talking about this for years, but I think Apple's making moves toward portless designs that I think are like getting close. I was doing an Amazon stream not long ago, and by the way, here's I think this there. That's my Amazon Live link. You can go over there and follow me. I'm trying to build up my followers over on Amazon because, like, to get to the next tier, you have to have 2,000, and I've been on and off doing Amazon streams for like 3 years or something, and I've only got 370 because nobody shows up for the Amazon streams to do like we're doing right now. They're not there to like talk. They want to see what's in your carousel and what you're doing and ask a question or whatever. Sometimes there's a little bit of like in like interaction, but the sound isn't even on when they first come over there. So to get people to follow on Amazon is really slow going. So, I mean, if you want to throw me a bone and go over there and, hit me a follow, the Amazon thing has actually been really cool. The one thing I like about Amazon and going over there and doing live streams is that, well, aside from the fact that they pay me, that I just talk about stuff that I like. I just go over there and do streams where I tell people about things that I like, headphones and other stuff. And I just talk about stuff that I like, right? And one thing about the portless design for the iPhone is I've been since I've got the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I don't think until I had to charge my phone down here, and I used like a lightning cable plugged into a USB jack on a power strip. I don't think I had plugged my iPhone in months, because I have a MagSafe charger in my bedroom. I have one on my other desk. I have a MagSafe mount for my car, right? So it's like I hadn't plugged my phone in for any reason whatsoever. So but that's the thing, Franklin. I don't have any dongles anymore. They've rid us of the dongles. Like, dongle life is over unless you count the AirPods as a dongle. Draftsman, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, Larry, thank you for the follow. The Amazon thing is a little nebulous. It's hard to find the live streams page. It's hard to find the home pages, the storefronts for the live streamers. It's a little weird, but it has been something that I've been able to do more, like build a business more out of than I could do on YouTube. YouTube, like, all the options for making money on YouTube are things that I don't like doing. I don't really like doing sponsored videos. I don't really like doing ad reads. I don't really like, just trying to bang out videos and like get the AdSense money is not reliable enough unless you're at at a certain level where every video gets, if every one of my videos got 75,000 views and I put out 10 videos a month, I'd probably be fine, but I don't. So that's kind of like another thing that I've been doing in this time that I've not been around. So yeah, it's definitely a weird platform, but I do enjoy doing it. So Larry wants to know, would a ZV-E10 be a good upgrade from Brio 4K? Absolutely, it would. Yeah. In fact, this right here, it's not going to look as nice as what I have, but it shut itself off. Shut itself off. Maybe because I hadn't used it for a while. So this is the ZV-1. Come on, come back. Come on. It doesn't want to come back yet. There, it's back. This is the ZV-1, which is the predecessor to the Z10, E10. And you could get, actually on Prime Day, you could get this ZV-1 on sale for $650, and it wasn't even like you hadn't been able to get it for the longest time. So yeah, it definitely a good option. Definitely a good option. The nice thing about the ZV-E10 is that it has interchangeable lenses. So that will definitely help. And I have the Brio, and I got to be honest, like, I was never able to get any kind of picture that I liked out of it. And I don't know. I've seen other people online with good looking footage from the Brio, but I've just never been able to get it. Yeah, Franklin's right. No port on iPhones means no lossless Apple Music for you, unless you're using AirPlay 2. AirPlay 2, if I recall correctly, does send out a lossless signal, but you can only really do that in in your home or whatever. So yeah, I'm anxious to see that. Like, so back a while ago, they were saying that the second version of the AirPods Max, we're gonna have lossless Bluetooth. And while I have no idea how they're going to achieve that, that's gonna be an issue. And Larry, you're probably right. A ton of light is probably the thing. Like, I do more. Like my stuff is more spot. Um, like my sets are not lit like super brightly. There's dark patches all over the place. So I think any webcam struggles with what I do with my sets. So yeah, I think if you had a really bright white background with lots of light, then it probably would look pretty good. I don't doubt that. So the Brio looks superior to the MacBook Pro built in. Now, is that a new MacBook Pro with the new camera or the old one? ATHE says, Margonaut on YouTube makes new way Hackintoshes. Really, really, some has figured out some way to Hackintosh. I see what you did there, X Plumber. I appreciate that. I've been I've been working more on my set this year than I've been making videos. So so there's that. When I start really making videos again, my set's gonna look really good. I'll have spent a lot of time and money on it. But that's what so MacBook Pro M1 Max, yeah. So well, if you're getting better footage out of the Brio than out of that, I mean that is pretty good. I mean the MacBook Pros aren't the best in the world, but they're not terrible. So using a virtual machine, okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds pretty interesting because yeah, I haven't I feel for the Hackintosh people. Once Apple went away from Intel, the whole Hackintosh community, like it's been a problem. It's been a problem. So yeah, but what else is going on? What other questions do you guys have for me? I mean, I've been looking at. I did find this, and this made me think of old times when we used to have conversations about whether or not the Apple Watch could save people's lives. So I saw this story. Apple Watch uncovers deadly hidden tumor, saves Maine woman's life. Now, the Apple Watch did not actually perform the surgery that saved the woman's life. I have to tell you that. It's good, not that good. So I'm using an A7C for the A roll, and then like this overhead cam is the A7 III, and I just put the A7 III up there because the A7C and the A7 III are basically the same camera, but the A7 III is a little bit newer with some newer interior stuff. I don't know exactly what. So anyway, I guess what happened was this woman had been wearing her Apple Watch, right? So here's the story. Woman had been wearing her Apple Watch. She woke up 2 mornings and the Apple Watch said that she was in atrial fibrillation, which, is like an irregular heartbeat, right? An Apple Watch tells you, the Apple Watch tells you that it's not indicated, it's not a diagnostic device. But the 3rd morning, but the third morning she got another one. So she and her husband went to the emergency room. They did some tests. They found out that she had, let's see, what was it called? 4-centimeter tumor in her heart that was restricting blood flow, and it was like an aggressive tumor that almost certainly would have killed her if it had not been found. So. So yeah, I mean, that is pretty impressive. I don't know about you, but I am impressed with that. So the fact that the Apple Watch does all that health stuff, I have it connected to my doctor's office. So whenever I go to the doctor and I get blood work, I get, whatever tests they do at the doctor or whatever, all that stuff is in Apple Health. And then also, like when I get a prescription refilled, I get a notification through the Apple Health app that tells me that that my prescription has been sent in before I ever get a call from the pharmacy or anything like that. So I do think that that's pretty cool. And I've been wearing a Galaxy Watch 4, and I really like the Galaxy Watch 4. There are things I like about the Galaxy Watches better than the Apple Watch. Like if I'm out doing a walk or something, after 10 minutes the Galaxy Watch will be like, "Hey, you're walking. Do you want to track a workout?" And it's like, "Yeah." And the Apple Watch has gotten better at that, but not really that much better. So I mean, there is a lot in about the Apple ecosystem that is super impressive. And if you are willing to sort of take your hands off the wheel and let Apple do the work, um, and then you're good. I can use the ECG function for the app for the Galaxy Watch. I haven't tried it. I think I tried it when I got one before. But yeah, there are certain things that I like about the Galaxy Watch better than I do. Uh, so 0696696990 says it's hard to hold a candle in the cold November rain. Um, yes, it is. It is. It's very true. Axl was anything. If anything, Axl Rose was always a poet. Uh, you use parallels. Stephen D uses parallels. Uh, I I used parallels a long time ago. I've tried dual booting Windows on Intel Apple machines. It's okay, but not awesome. So yeah, I have to say, and digital slang is I have an A10 Mini, but one of the reasons that I went away from the Mac Studio had nothing to do with the Mac Studio. For some reason, my A10 Mini would like work fine for weeks, and then I would go to do a live stream one day and it would just not be working. And I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get the computer to recognize it. I don't know if it was overheated or what the issue was, because there's no power button, as Tom Buck likes to talk about, no power button on the A10 Mini. So that's why I built this PC. Because I would have to go and get my cam links out of the shed, whatever box I threw them in, and then I'd quickly have to plug in all the cam links and hope that they didn't overload a USB bus, and then I'd get my live stream done. And that stuff is frustrating. So that's why I went for the Elgato Camlink Pro, which has 4 HDMI inputs on a PCIe 4 bus. And now I can run all of these cameras and like not really have to worry unless they overheat, which has been an issue this summer. I need to get a better cooling solution in here, and it's just not working. Larry says, been using a Pixel 4a for the last year. Just try to avoid Android. Was loving it until I watched the step meter go backwards and remove about 3,000 of my steps. Yeah, well, I've never seen that happen, but that's the one thing about Pixels in general that I've always had an issue with, is that they have, and I know that people get upset when I say this, but Pixels have always been buggy, and the Pixel 6 was no different. When it came out, it was definitely buggy, and I know that it's gotten better since then, but it still was an issue. Still was definitely an issue. So yeah, there's no arguing with the fact that Apple builds great products. That, again, it's like a religion. You have to take your hands off the wheel and let Apple drive. Like, just take me where you're taking me, and I won't ask any questions. And the thing is, like, for me, that just gets frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Yeah, Genosis is right. I mean, the Pixels have been buggy, and then their manufacturing path has been very inconsistent. I was really upset when, was it the 4 that had the LiDAR, whatever that Face ID was, that was super quick and worked really well, but then it was like crashing planes in India or something. I don't know what it was doing, but they had to stop using it. and now the Face ID is no good. I mean, that's another thing. Like, there's a face recognition thing on this phone, and it works not at all. I have to use the fingerprint. Very frustrating. Very frustrating. So maybe I need to rescan the face. Maybe. I wish you could do the thing like you could do with the fingerprints, where you could scan the face like 3 times, so then it might recognize your face a little bit better. But yeah, that is not possible. So, can the Apple Watch bring back your girlfriend? No, I don't think it can. Unfortunately, Jose. The 6A Pro was so buggy. Tried it about 4 months and had enough after that. Hopefully the 6 Pro. Yeah, I got the 6 Pro for a little while when it first came out. I used it for a couple of weeks, and it was totally out there, and just frustrating enough that you wanted to throw it against the wall at least a couple of times a day, right? So when that's the case, I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Took it back to Best Buy and just went back to the iPhone. And to be honest, like I said this on Twitter a few weeks ago, I've been happily using as my main phone in between whatever other phones I might try out for the past almost a year and a half. I've been happy using the iPhone 12 Pro Max, happy in the Apple ecosystem, but and you know, when it's working well and all the bugs are worked out and you've got your life sort of in there, then it all is great. But then, as Podcast has said, you know, the functioning Apple ecosystem is like a religion. I didn't mean to make you a practicing Christian again by any means whatsoever. That was not my intention in pointing out the amount of faith required to accept the Apple ecosystem into your life. Do you accept the Apple ecosystem into your life? Podcastage. Sorry. It's getting warm in here. How about reviewing your free-range Rottweiler? She's being very pushy right now for attention. I don't know, man. I don't know nothing about reviewing no dogs. All I know is I have 3 too many dogs right now. 3 too many. And 1 too many cats. 3 too many. Praise be to Tim. Now we've got our own Judas. Mr. Johnny Ive has been cast out of the fold. He has been cast out of the fold for being Johnny Ive. I don't even know. I don't even know. Johnny Ive, will he descend and become like the Apple Antichrist? I don't know. Anything could happen. What's going to happen so Tim Cook has been the CEO of Apple for more than 10 years now, right? And so what's going to happen when Tim Cook decides, like, I'm going to retire? Like, what's going to happen then? I'm just food for thought. 06969690 asks, are you happy with the Game of Thrones ending after it ended? No. I was so all the way through that season. It was it was 8 episodes, right? So all the way through episode 6, I was kind of like, okay. You know, they had the big battle at the castle. What was it called? The North. Yeah, King of the North. Blah blah blah. Anyway, they had that big battle, and I was kind of like, okay. And then it just like took a big crap all over everyone. They just decided, like, don't care, gonna do this, don't care, and they made all kinds of really terrible character decisions, and everything that happened in the ending was completely unmotivated by the previous 7 seasons worth of. It was very frustrating. And what was even more aggravating What was even more aggravating is that the two Davids, Benioff and whatever the heck his name was, is that basically they said that after they ran out of book, they didn't know what to do. So they were just like making it up. Well, of course they were making it up. It's fictional, but yeah, that got them fired from their Star Wars Old Republic trilogy, which, I mean, I guess we can all breathe a sigh of relief that those guys were not allowed to enter the Star Wars saga. Because, yeah. So, podcast, it says, have you been enjoying any cassettes or VHS lately, pulling out your old movies and tapes? I have over here, podcastage, a 4-track recorder, a Tascam 464. So it really has like more than 4 tracks, but you can use the 2 other tracks to bus to the 4 tracks. And anyway, so in that way, yes, I have been enjoying some cassette tapes. It's pretty cool. I've also been buying some analog synthesizers. So yeah, very much enjoying. I have some VHS tapes that I need to get pulled off, like from high school. I need to get them like pulled off the VHS and put into the cloud or wherever they put those things these days. God forbid they enter the Star Wars saga. We wouldn't want to get them getting in the way of Disney making bad movies. No, they would be right in line with the making of the bad movies. The Star Wars saga, I was on board for the first of the what was it, the prequels, whatever the last 3 were, whatever those are called. I was on board for the first one, and then the Last Jedi I actually liked. I actually liked The Last Jedi, and I thought, we're making some different kind of character decisions. I like this. And everybody else hated it. Everybody else went insane. I still don't really understand why. And then that last one, which I don't even want to try and remember the name, was an absolute turd burger. It was awful. It was awful in a way that, like, I can't even make any kind of, like, intellectual argument for it. It was terrible. It was terrible. And lazy, and obviously meddled with by people who care about money as opposed to art. And then, the Colin Trevorrow, who just released a complete shit show of a movie in Last World, Jurassic Park Dominion. That movie was entertaining to watch in the sense that, like, as you go from scene to scene, you can be entertained by that individual scene. But as soon as you try and make Jurassic World Dominion make sense as a movie, like start to finish, it all falls apart. And usually I'm able to, like, suspend disbelief over the course of, like, the rest of the evening and into the next day. And then sometime during the next day, my heart will sink and I'll realize that it was a crap movie. But in this case, it didn't happen. I watched Jurassic World Dominion, and at the end of the movie, I said this to my wife. I was like, that was fun to watch, but the whole movie was really crap. and she agreed with me. Like, it just ended. We had just turned it off, and it was like, yeah, that was terrible. Like, there were so many things about the dinosaurs. Like, some of the dinosaurs had feathers now, but some of them didn't. And then it's, some of the dinosaurs are running around on snow-covered mountaintops. And unless some new discovery was made that I don't know about, I thought dinosaurs were like reptilian. Or, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is, as soon as I tried to make any sense of it, it made no sense. And I haven't seen the Thor movie. I haven't seen the new Thor movie. I want to see it, but I still, like, it's a very rare event for me to go out into the theater. Not because I'm afraid of whatever, but
but there's just not enough movies coming out right now that are interesting enough or compelling enough for me to go see them in the theater. I mean, and while I would really want to see Thor, it came out. The family was on vacation. I stayed home to like do some work and stuff, um, and so I haven't seen Thor yet, and I want to, and I've been trying not to read anything about it or see anything about it. Um, it has a lot of Guns N' Roses in it. But yeah, that's as digital slang says. It looks like it's good. It looks like it'll be funny. I've loved almost every Taika Waititi movie that I've seen, all the way back to the movie that he made with Sam Neill and Little Kid. My daughter loved that movie. It was like something the Wildebeest or something like that. Anyway, um, so I'm just like, the only reason we watched Jurassic World Dominion was that you could rent it on Amazon, and so we rented it. Hunt for the Wilder People. Yes, thank you. That is such a good movie. If you guys haven't seen that movie, I mean, it's a sweet movie. It's about a foster kid, and it's a very sweet movie. It's a very funny movie. So if you haven't seen it, then Hunt for the Wilder People is a really good movie. And Taika Waititi makes, I enjoy his humor. I enjoy his irreverence, I guess. So, and I did really like Ragnarok. Like after Thor: Dark World, I was like, I don't know if we need another Thor movie. But then suddenly everybody figured out that Chris Hemsworth was funny or could be funny, and and away we go. I think funny Chris Hemsworth is what saved Thor as a character, and the Thor movie part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah. Did you see Maverick? Oh, I thought you were talking about the movie based off the TV show that starred James Garner, Mel Gibson, and Jodie Foster from like 1996 or whatever. No, I did see that. In fact, I saw that in a test screening in New York City along with Siskel and Ebert that were there as well. And they had these light up pens that they used to that they used to take their notes, because that was before smartphones and such. Anyway, but not that Maverick. I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick yet. My daughter refuses to watch Top Gun, and I mean she's an 18-year-old. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, yeah, I have seen What We Do in the Shadows. Very funny. I have seen most of Our Flag Means Death. My daughter was watching that, and I caught most of the episodes. So yeah. So Digital Slang thought too much comedy. I can understand that. Yeah, I think that I think that's the dangerous thread to weave when you've got like a good comedic cast, and you know the comedy was really good. The comedy was really good in the last film. I mean, comedy is that like, did you guys ever see that Woody Allen movie Hannah and Her Sisters? This was before Woody Allen was like, I mean, he was evil, but nobody knew it yet. This would have been in the early 90s, I think, Hannah and Her Sisters, maybe late 80s. There was one scene, and I think it was Alan Alda was in the movie, and he was talking about comedy, and he says, in comedy, if it bends, it's funny. If it breaks, it's not funny. And I always thought that was a really good explanation, not just of comedy, but of a lot of other things, that like a little too much is too much, right? And so that's the thing with these Thor movies, is like, if it bends, if it's funny but it doesn't like trip up the forward moving story, then great. If it's too much funny and like the funny is really sort of getting in the way, then it's not as good. But I still think I'll probably enjoy it. I think Chris Hemsworth is great. Always had a crush on Natalie Portman, so that's fine. Tessa Thompson always really good. So yeah, and then we get Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is back. So yeah. Does your 18-year-old daughter understand that Top Gun is nothing more than a beefcake factory just ripped? Yeah, well, she does understand that. The kids these days don't like that, man. The kids these days they want they want like overarching respect for everything. So anything that's objectifying is uncool, apparently. So Digital Slang says Ragnarok had the perfect amount of comedy and seriousness. Agreed. 80-20 is always a good ratio of comedy to story. Ex Plumber, did you watch the Apple TV series C? No. Well, yes, I watched like most of the first season, and then I didn't pick it up at the end. I don't think I watched like the last couple of episodes of season 1, so I didn't pick it up again. I still kind of want to watch it because, you know, we've got Iowa's finest thespian, of course, is in it, Aquaman, and then like I have been watching. So I've been watching Blackbird. So this is a new Apple TV series. I don't know, you guys might not know this about me, but I'm like kind of a true crime junkie, and you know, listen to a lot of true crime podcasts, read a lot of true crime books, etc., etc. So Blackbird is this it's a based on true events thing about this guy who was in jail for being a drug dealer, and the FBI comes to him and says, can you go to prison and befriend this like creepy ass serial killer that we can't get like he might get out of jail because we can't prove that he did these things. We need you to get him to confess. And so it's got Taron Egerton, who plays a Goomba like 90s doofus like beefcake dude incredibly well. I mean, I would have never guessed. I would have never guessed that he's British, but he does like the 90s like meathead thing very well. But he's also a smart character. But the guy who plays the serial killer, and I always forget his name because it's like a 3-name, and so he's been in Cobra Kai. He's been in he played Richard Jewell in the Richard Jewell movie, and he's been in a few other things, and he is an incredible actor. He is incredible. He is the creepiest serial killer other than the guy who played in Mindhunter. The guy who played Ed Kemper, who's also a really good actor. He won an Emmy for that. Anyway, yeah, so this guy is so good in this movie. Like, he literally in this series. So anyway, that's the series that's going on right now. I'm also watching The Old Man with Jeff Bridges. Very good, very good. I haven't watched episode 6 yet, but it's on Hulu. Paul Walter Hauser, thank you. Yes, that guy is a movie star, man. He is so good. And you know, I love it when you see like non-traditional Hollywood-looking people like just owning it on screen. You know, just being so good. Yeah, that guy's fantastic. He's been good in everything that I've seen. He's funny as hell. And yeah. The serial killer in Blackbird was in Cobra Kai. He played like the older guy who was kind of a loser who wanted to get in Cobra Kai, and yeah, so he's funny. He has like a rat tail. He's very funny too. But yeah, that's such a good series. You know, and Apple has done a couple of different series. They did Defending Jacob with Chris Evans. That was about his, you know, that was a good series. For All Mankind, I have really liked. I haven't watched the third season yet, and I remember that I binged everything of the first season after it had all finished. I had binged then all of the second season because, like, I feel like that TV show creates its own sort of reality, and I just haven't felt like I'm ready to go into that reality yet. So I really enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to season 2 or season 3. But doesn't it go into the 90s now, which is just it's a little too close for comfort. Um, I watched for Westworld. I watched season 1, season 2. I watched the first few episodes of season 3, and then I just started watching straight out of season 2, and I was like, okay, this is a total shift of gears for the show. I wanna like freshen my palate. Haven't gone back to it yet, and so I'll probably watch 3 and 4 all at once. Season 1 was incredibly good television. Season 2 was spotty, but good. Season 3, The Expanse, also really good. I watched like 3 seasons in a row and then got kind of burned out, and so I haven't gone back to it yet. Right now, I'm watching. They just put new episodes of Alone on on Netflix, so I'm watching season 8 of Alone, and I don't know why I like to watch that show. They're only like I only sometimes like any kind of like reality TV. But Alone is really bizarre. But I've watched enough of it now that I know I know everything that all the people are going to say. You know, you've always got like 25% of them are like, you know, hippy dippy yahoos, and the other 25% are middle-aged dudes that are trying to recreate their youth. And then, you know, there's always like one guy who doesn't seem like he has any way of doing anything, and then he ends up being one of the last people. And then there's a woman that doesn't seem like she'll make it very far, but she does. And then there's like ultimately the winner. So I'm enjoying it. Stranger Things season 4, Steven, was so good. And I saw somebody was commenting before that it's been released now that the Duffer Brothers have been going back and editing the previous seasons. And you know, like after season 4, I really wanted to watch. I wanted to go back and watch from the beginning. I loved season 4. I loved it so much. I felt like season 4 is probably the best season yet for me, which is why I wanted to go back and watch, you know, the first 3 seasons over again, because I just really enjoyed. I'm telling you, man, Eddie is the guy, right? That guy's again like so good. And while I kind of was like split on like the widespread acceptance of like that first Kate Bush and then Metallica, I was like, you know what? Every generation deserves to enjoy these great songs. So David Harbour lost 80 pounds. I want to know how David Harbour lost 80 pounds, although it was probably with like very expensive personal trainers and dietitians and stuff, but I need to lose some as well. Man, I think that they're going to figure out some way to bring Eddie back. I think they are. I would, yeah. I think they're going to figure out a way to save him from his demise, because that Master of Puppets, like, that scene where he's playing Master of Puppets was so awesome. It was so awesome. And I just like, even cynical me, I'm sitting there watching. They're on the roof and he's playing Master of Puppets, and I was like, I was gonna be cynical about it, and then I was just like, no, this is just awesome. So I really enjoyed that. We are watching the Resident Evil series right now on Netflix. I think we're 4 episodes in. It's hard to watch a whole series with the family because now my daughter's not living here, so we watch some things only when she's here, and then my wife goes to bed at like 9 o'clock, so we only get to watch 1 or 2 episodes of something. But yeah, it's been really like the Resident Evil series so far. The first 4 episodes, it's It's not Shakespearean by any stretch, but it's better than I thought it would be. And I'm interested in the story. Although I will have to say, that the teen drama aspect of Resident Evil goes on about 2 episodes longer than I needed it to go on. I needed that plot point to move forward more quickly. And yes, X Plumber, you're right. I looked at Eddie and I was like, they somehow CGI'd like young Robert Downey Jr. into this role. How did they do that? And yeah, and anybody who's a senior in high school and more than once over senior in high school, who is the leader of a Dungeons and Dragons club, that is a very dedicated nerd, right? Very dedicated. Because I know by the time I got to senior year in high school, like I'd left the Dungeons and Dragons behind, and was on to like, well, I mean, I guess he still had rock and roll too. I was on to rock and roll and other things, and left the Dungeons and Dragons behind. The Will thing was really interesting. Like I hadn't picked up on the vibes until this season, but it totally makes sense. And yeah, I mean, I did feel bad for him, and it was like I liked what they did with it because they didn't make it a big thing. There wasn't like a big sort of "don't you know how much I care about you" kind of, coming out thing. But his, that's that episode where his brother was watching him look at them, look at them having fun, and his brother just said, we're not close enough, and like kind of connected with Will again. Like that was a good way to deal with that plot point. Rainier, thank you. And in fact, like I'm gonna sign off too now. It's been an hour and a half or so, and yeah, I could talk all night, but I'm gonna let it run down and just be done. But hey, everybody, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. I'm gonna start doing these regularly on Tuesdays again, and just kind of ease myself back into the live stream thing, see what it's going to be. But I do appreciate you guys being here so much. I really do appreciate it. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your night, great rest of the week. Hopefully it cools off around the world and we can all enjoy not sweating. But otherwise, until the next time, my name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL, formerly known as the Painfully Honest Tech, but, still kind of, sort of Painfully Honest Tech. Until the next time, I'm out. It's not even like, that's my phone. My wife knows that I'm live streaming, but I kind of like that as an outro. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Bye.